Hello there, and welcome. I am so glad you are here tonight. Whatever your day has been, whatever it held, it is over now. You made it through, and that is more than enough. So let everything else fall away. The noise, the obligations, the little worries that have been circling your mind like restless birds. Just let them go. They will still be there tomorrow if you want them. But I have a feeling that by morning, most of them will have quietly dissolved on their own, the way so many worries do when you give them permission to leave. Right now, there is nothing required of you. Nothing at all. You do not need to be anywhere. You do not need to solve anything, or fix anything, or respond to anything. The only thing I'm asking of you tonight is the easiest thing in the world. Just lie there and listen. I will do everything else. I will tell you a story. I will keep you company. And somewhere along the way, without you even noticing the exact moment it happens, sleep will come for you like a warm tide, and you will let it carry you away. So let us begin by making sure your body is as comfortable as your mind is about to become. Take a slow breath in through your nose, not a big dramatic breath, just a gentle one. Feel your lungs open like a window letting in cool morning air. Hold it there for just a moment, not because you are straining, but because it feels good to pause. And now, let it go through your mouth. Slowly. Let the exhale last longer than the inhale. Feel your chest settle. Feel your shoulders begin to soften. Take another breath in, slow and easy, and let it out again. Each breath is a small act of kindness toward yourself. Each exhale releases something you no longer need to carry. One more. Breathe in calm. Breathe out everything else. Now, we are going to count down together from 10 to 1. With each number, you are going to feel yourself sinking a little deeper into relaxation. You do not need to try to relax. Your body already knows how. It has just been waiting for permission. Consider this your permission. 10. Bring your attention to your forehead. Notice if there is any tension there, any tightness between your eyebrows or across your brow. Now imagine that tension is like a thin layer of frost, and a warm breeze is passing slowly across your forehead, melting it away. Your forehead smooths out, your brow softens. Everything up there becomes still and easy. 9. Let that warmth drift down into your eyes. Your eyelids grow heavier, not uncomfortably heavy, just pleasantly so, like they are made of velvet. They have no interest in opening. They are perfectly content to stay closed, and the darkness behind them is not empty. It is full of softness, full of possibility, full of the story that is waiting for you. 8. Your jaw releases. You may not have realized you were clenching it, but you were. We almost always are. Let your teeth part slightly. Let your lips rest together without pressing. Let your tongue settle gently against the floor of your mouth. There. That is so much better. 7. Your neck lets go. All those muscles that spend every waking hour holding up the weight of your head and your thoughts and your responsibilities, they are off duty now. Your pillow is doing all the work. Your neck has nothing left to do but rest. 6. Your shoulders drop, really drop, farther than you think they can go. Imagine you have been carrying a heavy coat all day and you are finally slipping it off and letting it fall to the floor. Feel how much lighter you are without it. Feel how your shoulders settle back and down, releasing tension you have been storing there for days, maybe weeks, maybe longer. 5. Halfway down, your arms grow heavy and warm. From your shoulders, through your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, down into your wrists and hands and fingers. Each finger uncurls slightly. Your palms are open and soft. Your hands have nothing to hold, nothing to grip, nothing to reach for. They are completely at rest. 4. Your chest softens. Your breathing has found its own gentle rhythm now, and you do not need to guide it anymore. It rises and falls like a small boat on a calm sea, effortless and steady. Your heartbeat has slowed to something deep and quiet, a low drum in the background of your body, reliable and unhurried. 3. Your stomach relaxes, your lower back releases into the mattress, your hips settle. All the muscles in your core that spend the day keeping you upright and braced and ready, they finally let go. You are not standing anymore. You are not bracing anymore. You are simply lying here, supported and held, and gravity is not your enemy tonight. It is your friend pulling you gently downward into comfort. 2. Your legs grow impossibly heavy, your thighs, your knees, your calves, all of them sinking deeper into the bed. Warmth spreads through your muscles like sunlight moving slowly across a floor. Your legs have carried you everywhere today, and now they have nowhere to go and nothing to do, and they are grateful. 1. Your feet relax, your ankles soften, your toes uncurl, and from the very top of your head to the very tips of your toes, your entire body is now loose and warm and beautiful, completely still. You are floating just above sleep, in that perfect in-between place where everything is soft and nothing hurts, and the only things that exist are the sound of my voice and the sound of rain. Because it is raining tonight, in the place I am about to take you. It is raining, and the rain is not a nuisance or an inconvenience. It is a gift. It is the sound of the sky saying, slow down, stay inside, be still. Let me sing you something old and constant and good. So close your eyes if they are not already closed, and come with me. It is late October, and you are walking along a narrow country road on the coast of Maine. The trees on either side are maples and oaks, and their leaves have turned every shade of fire, amber and rust and deep burgundy, and the kind of gold that looks like it belongs in a painting rather than on a branch. Some of the leaves have already fallen, and they carpet the road beneath your feet in a soft, damp mosaic that crunches faintly with each step. You have been walking for a while. You set out from the small coastal village where you have been staying for a few days of quiet. A little inn with creaking floorboards and lace curtains, and a breakfast table where the owner sets out fresh scones and strong coffee each morning without being asked. You needed this trip, not for any dramatic reason. You just needed space, room to breathe, a few days where no one needed anything from you and you could simply exist without a schedule. The walk this afternoon was supposed to be a short one. An hour along the coastal path, maybe 2, just to stretch your legs and breathe in the salt air and watch the waves break white against the dark rocks far below the cliffs. But the path was so beautiful that you kept going, around one more bend, over one more hill, through one more stand of birch trees whose white bark glowed like bones in the gray afternoon light. And now the sky is doing what October skies in Maine inevitably do. It is darkening. The clouds have thickened into something serious, low and heavy, and the color of pewter. And you feel the first drops of rain land on your jacket, your hands, the bridge of your nose. Light at first, almost playful, but you know what is coming. Within minutes, the rain is falling in earnest, steady and insistent and thorough. It drums on the canopy of leaves above you, and the leaves that have already fallen send up a rich, earthy smell as the water soaks into them. The smell of autumn itself, damp and sweet and faintly melancholy. Your jacket is good, but not waterproof, and you can feel the moisture beginning to seep through at the shoulders. Your shoes are growing heavy with mud. You are at least an hour from the village. The light is fading. The road has narrowed to something closer to a trail, and the trees have closed in on either side, their branches interlocking above you like the ribs of some great sleeping animal. You are not frightened. There is nothing to fear here, but you feel that ancient, primal pull toward shelter, toward warmth, toward somewhere enclosed and dry where the rain becomes a comfort rather than a problem. And then, through the trees, you see it, a cottage, small and sturdy, built from weathered gray stone that looks like it grew out of the earth rather than being placed upon it. The roof is dark slate, steep and angled against the wind, and a chimney rises from one end, slightly crooked, like a finger pointing at the sky. The front garden is overgrown, but not wild. Rosemary bushes crowd the stone path, and you can smell them even through the rain, sharp and green and medicinal. There are the woody skeletons of hydrangeas that bloomed magnificently in summer and are now resting for the season. And the front door. The front door is painted blue, not a bright blue, a soft, weathered blue, the color of a robin's egg that has been left in the sun, faded and beautiful, and somehow deeply inviting. The door is slightly open, just an inch or two, as if the cottage has been expecting someone. You step through the garden, the rosemary brushing against your legs and releasing even more of its fragrance. You reach the door and knock gently, more out of habit than expectation. No one answers. The rain is coming down harder now, and you can feel it running down the back of your neck, so you push the door open slowly and step inside. The first thing you notice is the smell. It is extraordinary. Old wood and dried lavender and the faintest ghost of wood smoke, as though a fire burned in this hearth not long ago. Or perhaps 1,000 fires burned here over many years, and the walls simply absorbed their warmth and held it. It smells like a place where someone was happy. You can feel that in your gut. Happiness soaked into the stone and the timber and the very air. You close the door behind you, and the rain immediately transforms. Outside, it was something you had to endure. In here, it is the most soothing sound you have ever heard. It patters on the slate roof above you in a steady, rhythmic pattern, and it taps against the window panes like gentle fingertips, and it becomes the soundtrack of safety. You are inside. The rain is outside, and that simple boundary changes everything. The cottage is a single main room with a low ceiling crossed by dark oak beams that have been polished by decades of wood smoke to a deep honey color. The floor is stone, covered in places by a faded wool rug in shades of green and cream. Against one wall stands a stone fireplace, wide and deep, with a neat stack of split logs beside it and a basket of kindling and old newspaper. An armchair sits near the hearth, upholstered in faded green fabric, worn smooth on the armrests, with a wool blanket folded over one side. Beside it is a small wooden table holding an oil lamp and a ceramic cup. Against the far wall, is a bookshelf stuffed full of old volumes with cracked leather spines and faded gold lettering. You can make out a few titles from where you stand. Poetry collections, a field guide to coastal birds, novels with names you half recognize from a literature class you took years ago. A small kitchen occupies one corner, copper pots hanging from iron hooks, a ceramic sink beneath a window that looks out onto the back garden, a kettle on an old stove. Everything is dusty, but not neglected. There is a difference between a place that has been abandoned and a place that has simply been waiting. This cottage is waiting. You find matches on the mantelpiece in a small ceramic dish. You kneel in front of the fireplace and crumple some of the old newspaper and arrange the kindling on top of it in a little tent, the way someone taught you once, and you strike a match. The flame catches immediately, eager and bright, and the kindling begins to crackle, and you add a small log and then a larger one, and within a few minutes, a proper fire is burning. The warmth reaches your face first, then your hands, then spreads outward through the room like a living thing, pushing the chill back into the corners where it belongs. The room transforms. The firelight sends amber patterns dancing across the walls and ceiling. The shadows become soft and friendly. The old books on the shelves seem to lean forward slightly, as if they are glad someone is here to see them. And the rain on the roof becomes even more beautiful against the sound of the crackling fire. Two of the most comforting sounds in the world playing together. You explore the small kitchen and find a canister of loose-leaf tea, chamomile and honey from the smell of it. The kettle fills from the tap, which still works, and you set it on the stove and wait, listening to the rain, watching the fire, feeling your wet clothes beginning to steam slightly in the warmth. When the kettle whistles softly, you pour the water over the tea in that ceramic cup from the table, the one glazed in deep ocean blue with a small chip on the rim that someone clearly never minded. The smell that rises from the cup is extraordinary. Chamomile and wildflower honey and something else, something you cannot name, something that smells the way comfort feels. You carry the tea to the armchair and sit down. The cushion sighs beneath you in a way that tells you someone spent years, maybe decades, sitting in this exact spot. The fabric has conformed to the shape of a human body, and it accepts yours gratefully. You pull the wool blanket over your legs. It is softer than you expected, thick and warm, and it smells faintly of cedar, as though it was stored in a chest made from that wood. You wrap your hands around the warm cup and take a slow sip, and the chamomile spreads through you like liquid peace, warming your throat, your chest, your stomach, radiating outward through your whole body. You sit there for a long time, just breathing, just listening to the fire and the rain, just being present in this unexpected, perfect moment. And you feel something you have not felt in a long time. The particular kind of contentment that comes from needing absolutely nothing. Everything you require is here. Warmth, shelter, something warm to drink, the sound of rain, the company of firelight. You are complete. It is only when you shift in the chair to set down your tea that your foot bumps against something beneath the armchair. Something solid. You reach down and your fingers close around a wooden box, smooth and worn, about the size of a bread loaf. You lift it onto your lap and examine it in the firelight. The box is beautiful. Cherry wood, darkened with age to a deep reddish brown, with a simple brass latch that has turned green over the years. On the lid, someone has carved two letters intertwined, an E and an M, surrounded by a delicate border of tiny leaves. The carving is careful and precise, made by hands that love the work and the person it was meant for. You open the latch. It gives easily, and the lid lifts to reveal something wrapped in a piece of soft linen. You unwrap it carefully, and inside is a diary. The diary is bound in brown leather, supple and smooth despite its age. When you open the cover, the pages are the color of heavy cream, and they are filled with the most beautiful handwriting you have ever seen. Elegant and flowing, each letter formed with care, the ink faded from black to a warm, rich sepia. The entries are dated, and the first one reads, June 14th, 1952. You begin to read, and a voice comes alive on these pages. A woman's voice, warm and vivid and immediately real. Her name is Eleanor. Eleanor writes about arriving at this cottage in early summer with 2 suitcases and a feeling she describes as the particular lightness of starting over. She writes about painting the front door blue because her mother always told her a blue door invites happiness inside. She writes about planting the herb garden, how the rosemary took to the soil as if it had been waiting its whole life to grow here, and how the thyme stayed small and modest and fragrant beside it. She writes about walks along the cliff path and the way the ocean looked different every day. Sometimes silver, sometimes green, sometimes so deep and dark it was almost black, and always honest in a way that people rarely manage to be. And on nearly every page, she writes about someone named Michael. Michael brought firewood from the Hendersons' farm today and stacked it so neatly beside the hearth that it looks like a piece of art. Eleanor writes this in July of that year. He has this way of making even the most ordinary tasks feel like acts of devotion. A few pages later, Michael read to me from Keats while I made potato soup, and the rain came down so hard we could not hear ourselves think. We did not mind. We just read louder and laughed harder, and it was the happiest evening of my life. And later still, we walked the cliff path at sunset, and the sky turned the color of peaches, and Michael said, "This is what forever looks like." And I believed him because when he says things like that, his voice gets very quiet and his eyes get very serious, and I know he means every word with everything he has. The way Eleanor writes about Michael is not dramatic or overwrought. It is quiet and steady and certain. She describes a love that is less like fireworks and more like the fireplace you are sitting beside right now. Consistent and warm and capable of sustaining you through entire seasons. You can feel the safety she felt with him, the ease, the joy of being seen completely and loved not in spite of who you are, but because of it. You turn the pages slowly, treating them with the tenderness they deserve. Summer turns to autumn in Eleanor's entries. The blueberries on the cliff path ripen and are picked and made into jam. The leaves begin to turn. The storms grow longer and more frequent, and Eleanor writes about them with something close to affection. We are having our 3rd storm this week, and I have stopped pretending to mind. The rain is the cottage's heartbeat. Without it, the silence would be too much. With it, the silence becomes music. But then, sometime around late October, the tone begins to shift. It is subtle at first. You notice it the way you notice the light changing at the end of an afternoon, gradually and then all at once. Eleanor's entries become shorter. The joy is still present, but there is something else woven through it now. A thread of worry, a quiet tension that she never quite names directly. She mentions letters that Michael has been receiving. Letters from somewhere far away, from people he does not speak of, willingly. She mentions late nights by the fire when his eyes go distant, when he stares into the flames as if he is trying to read something in them. She mentions a family he has not seen in years, a father who disapproved, a brother who stopped writing, a door that closed so hard it shook the frame and never swung open again. And then you turn to an entry dated November 3rd, 1952, and it stops you completely. Michael left this morning. He did not say goodbye the way people usually do. He said it the way the tide goes out. Slowly at first, and then all at once, and by the time I realized what was happening, the shore was bare. He left a letter on the kitchen table, but I cannot bring myself to read it yet. The fire has gone out, and I do not have the energy to rebuild it. The rain sounds different when you are alone. You sit with those words for a moment. The fire in front of you pops softly, sending a tiny shower of sparks upward. The rain continues its patient rhythm on the roof, and you feel something shift in your chest. Not quite sadness, but recognition. You understand the kind of silence Eleanor is describing, the kind that fills a room where someone used to be, the kind that is not empty, but is somehow worse than empty because it is full of absence. You keep reading. The next several entries are sparse. Eleanor writes about going through the motions of living, feeding the fire, boiling water for tea, standing at the window and watching the rain, which seems to never stop now, as though the sky has decided to grieve alongside her. She writes about finding Michael's wool scarf draped over the back of this very armchair, the one you are sitting in right now, and pressing it to her face and breathing in the scent of wood smoke and sea salt and something that was simply and uniquely him. But the letter Michael left, she does not read it. She mentions it several times over the following weeks. It moves from the kitchen table to a drawer, from the drawer to the bookshelf, and finally, she tucks it into the back pages of this diary. I cannot read it, she writes. If it is an explanation, it will not be enough. And if it is an apology, it will be too much. I would rather have the question than an answer I cannot bear. You feel your heart beat a little faster because you realize if Eleanor tucked the letter into the back of this diary, it might still be there, right now, in your hands. You turn carefully to the last pages, and there it is. A sealed envelope, yellowed with age, with the name Eleanor written on the front in a different hand. Bolder, less precise than Eleanor's elegant script. Michael's handwriting. The envelope has never been opened. The seal is intact. For over 70 years, these words have been waiting in the dark for someone to read them. The cottage seems to grow very still. The fire flickers. The rain softens, as though even the storm wants to listen. And you understand, in a way that goes beyond logic, that this moment matters, that this letter has been waiting, that Eleanor could never bring herself to open it, and that somehow, through a chain of rain and chance and a walk that wandered farther than you planned, you are the one sitting in this chair, holding this envelope at exactly the right time. You slide your finger carefully beneath the flap. The old glue gives way immediately, dry and brittle after decades. Inside is a single sheet of paper folded twice. You unfold it, and in the firelight, You begin to read, "My dearest Eleanor, I am not leaving because I want to. I need you to understand that before anything else. There is nowhere I would rather be than in that cottage with you, listening to the rain, reading poetry by the fire, watching you move through the garden in the morning with dirt on your hands and joy on your face. You are the life I chose, and I would choose it again 1,000 times without hesitation. But my father is dying. My brother wrote to tell me, and despite everything that happened between us, the anger, the silence, the years of pretending the other did not exist, my father has been asking for me. Every day, James says, every day he asks if I have come. And here is what you taught me, Eleanor, without ever meaning to. You taught me that people matter more than pride. You taught me that forgiveness is not something you feel first and do second. It is something you do first and feel second. You taught me that love is not a fortress you defend. It is a door you keep open, even when you are afraid of what might walk through. I am going home to open that door, to sit beside my father and hold his hand and say the things that should have been said years ago. And when that is done, when that broken thing is mended, or at least honestly mourned, I am coming back. I will always come back to you, to our blue door and our rosemary garden and our evenings with Keats and soup and rain. You are my home, Eleanor. You have been since the first morning I saw you standing on the cliff path with the wind in your hair, looking at the ocean like it owed you an answer, and you were willing to wait as long as it took. Wait for me now. I will not be long. All my love, always and completely. Michael. You lower the letter slowly. The fire crackles, the rain whispers, and the cottage holds a silence that is not empty, but full of something that feels like release, like a breath held for 70 years, finally being let go. Eleanor never knew. She never knew he was coming back. She spent all those weeks and months believing she had been left, believing the silence between them was a choice he made, when in truth it was a bridge he was trying to rebuild somewhere else so that he could cross back to her with a whole heart. He was not running from her. He was running towards something broken that needed mending, and he was doing it because she had taught him how. You turn back to the diary and read the remaining entries with different eyes. Eleanor stayed through the winter. Her entries become more reflective, more philosophical. She writes about the nature of love and how it does not disappear just because the person does. She writes about learning to find peace in solitude, in the rhythm of the tides and the turning of the seasons and the steady, faithful sound of rain on a stone roof. She writes about choosing gratitude over bitterness, which she says is the hardest and most important choice a person can make. The final entry is dated March 15th, 1953. It says simply, "Spring is coming. I can smell it in the earth. Whatever happens next, I had this cottage, this coastline, those months of happiness that were so vivid they felt almost invented. Nothing can unlive what was lived. I choose to remember the love." You close the diary gently and hold it against your chest. And then you do something that feels natural and right and necessary. You take Michael's letter and you place it at the very front of the diary before Eleanor's first entry, so that if anyone ever finds this diary again, they will read his words first. They will know before the story even begins that Eleanor was loved, that Michael was coming back, that the silence between them was never emptiness, It was just a message that got lost along the way messages sometimes do. You placed the diary back in the cherry wood box and set the box on the small table beside the armchair. Not hidden beneath the chair anymore, not tucked away in the dark, out in the open where the firelight can reach it, where it can be seen and found and known. And you sit back in the chair and pull the blanket up to your chest and close your eyes. And you feel something you did not expect to feel. A sense of completion, of having been part of something meaningful. You did not solve a grand mystery or uncover a dramatic secret. You simply read a letter that should have been read a long time ago, and in doing so, you closed a circle that had been open for decades. You gave Eleanor the answer she could never bring herself to look for. And even though she is not here to receive it, somehow, in some way that you cannot explain but absolutely feel, it matters. It reached her. The cottage itself seems lighter now, warmer, more at peace, as though the walls have exhaled something they were holding for a very long time. The fire has burned down to a deep bed of glowing coals. They pulse with a low, steady warmth, orange and red and amber, and they are beautiful in their quietness. They are not trying to be a roaring fire anymore. They are simply being what they are, warm and present and enough. The rain continues on the roof, steady, faithful, unchanged. It has been falling this whole time, keeping you company, filling the silence with its gentle, rhythmic voice. And now, as you settle deeper into the chair and the blanket and the warmth and the extraordinary stillness of this cottage, the rain becomes the only sound you need. You think of Eleanor. You think of Michael. You think of the blue door and the rosemary garden and the evenings with poetry and soup. And you think of the people in your own life, the ones you love, the ones you have lost touch with, the ones you have been meaning to call, the letters you have been meaning to write. And you make a quiet promise to yourself, there in the warm dark, that you will reach out, not on any particular timeline, not with any pressure, just soon, because life is shorter than we think, and love is too important to leave folded up in an envelope at the back of a diary where no one can find it. Your eyes are heavy now, beautifully, peacefully heavy. The kind of heavy that is not a burden, but a gift. Your body has melted into the chair. The blanket holds you like gentle arms. The coals glow, the rain falls, and sleep is so close now. You can feel it at the edges of your awareness, soft and dark and welcoming, like warm water rising slowly around you. Let it come. Do not chase it. Do not try to make it happen. Just let it arrive the way rain arrives. Naturally, gently, because it is simply what the sky does when the time is right. And the time is right. You are warm. You are safe. You are at peace. The story is finished. The letter is read. The love is known. And now, there is nothing left to do but rest. As you drift, let these words settle over you. You do not need to hold on to them. You do not need to remember them in the morning. Just let them pass through you like warmth, like firelight, like the sound of rain on a roof that is keeping you safe. You are at peace. Whatever happened today, whatever did not happen, whatever you accomplished, and whatever you left undone, none of it changes your worth. You are enough. You have always been enough. And tonight, you rest in that truth the way you rest in this chair. Completely, without reservation, without apology. You are safe. The world outside is doing whatever the world does, and it does not need your attention right now. The rain is falling, and the fire is warm, and the door is closed, and you are held. There is nothing that requires your wakefulness. There is nothing that cannot wait until morning. You are loved. Whether you heard those words today from someone else or not, they are true. You are loved by people who have told you, and by people who carry it quietly and have not yet found the right moment. You are loved across distances and silences and years. Love does not expire. It does not weaken with time. It waits. The way Michael's letter waited, patient and faithful and unchanged, until the moment it is finally received. You are whole, not because everything in your life is perfect or resolved or figured out, but because wholeness was never about perfection. It is about presence. And right now, you are here. You are present. You are breathing. You are alive. And that is more than enough. That is everything. You deserve rest. Deep, uninterrupted, healing rest. The kind of sleep that repairs not just your body, but your spirit. The kind that lets your mind finally set down every thought it has been juggling and simply float. You deserve that. Not because you earned it, not because you worked hard enough to qualify for it. You deserve it because rest is not a reward. It is a right. And tonight you claim it, fully and without guilt. The rain continues falling. Listen to it for a moment. Just listen. Each drop is a tiny percussion on the roof above you, and together they create a rhythm that your body recognizes at the deepest level. The rhythm of nature, of water returning to earth, of the endless cycle that has been repeating since long before you were born and will continue long after. There is something profoundly comforting about that. You are part of something ancient and ongoing and good. And right now, your part is simply to rest. The fire has gone to embers. The embers have gone to warmth. The warmth has gone into the walls and the blanket and your bones. And your bones have grown soft and heavy and perfectly, beautifully still. Sleep now. Let the cottage hold you. Let the rain sing to you. Let the story of Eleanor and Michael settle into your heart like a letter finally opened and read and understood. Love endures. Connection survives silence. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply be present. Open a door, light a fire, read the words someone left behind, and let them mean what they were always meant to mean. The rain falls, soft and steady and endless, and you are drifting now, drifting like a leaf on still water, drifting like smoke from a candle, drifting like the last thought before sleep takes you gently and completely into its care. You are warm, you are safe, you are loved, you are at peace. The rain falls, the rain falls, and all is well. All is well. All is well. Rest now. Rest.